week I wanted to talk about something I think is pretty cool, the increase in children's content. If you haven't noticed or haven't caught some of the articles, there has been an uptick, a serious uptick in online content, period. And when I say online content, I don't just mean somebody creating something from scratch on a YouTube channel. I'm referring to studios, producers creating content direct to stream, direct on-demand access. So because of this, these programs sometimes are being greenlit really, really quickly, jumping through some hoops to get everything up and live. Not always safe checking and guarding what should be out there. And that is especially true when it comes to children and children's content. It's okay. We're adults. We can use our heads to make sure we know what's good and bad for kids. And also that's where I come in, right? My whole job is to make sure what you have online and what you're producing online is safe for kids as well. So I'm pretty busy. But on the other side, I want to talk to parents, because what you don't see happening behind the scenes is the amount of effort that actually goes into creating a large variety of content to make sure that everyone who's stuck at home online, or even is making a choice to stay online a little bit longer now, has something to watch and is happy. Not all educational, not all happy all the time, not always for entertainment. It depends on your mood, what you're looking for, but know that the offering is probably out there, and if it's not, it's on the horizon. So let's dive in a little bit. I want to go over my 3 top reasons the increase of content is great, and a couple of cons, a couple of reasons why it's a little disturbing and a little bad right now. So the first one is choice. Like I said, you have a variety. You can choose whatever you need to for your kids, and you can make those right decisions for you and your family. On a side note, or a little bonus to choice, which I think is great, is this idea of voice. So a lot of producers are creating programs now that speak to multi-level audiences. So we're speaking to children and speaking to adults at the same time. They're expecting co-viewing to be happening because of the situation with COVID especially. They're encouraging co-viewing to be happening, and they're doing it by entertaining both the child and the adult at the same time. A clear example of this that I can really think of, especially that's going to be on a reboot, hopefully very, very soon, is that cartoon, if you remember it, Animaniacs. I recently introduced this to my kids, and they think it's hilarious, right? It's slapstick, there's throwback cartoons, it's got sort of references to other animated creatures that have ears and are small and black with tails. They're owned by another company. Maybe not anymore. The mouse owns everything. But the idea is kids love it, adults love it. Because if you really watch it as an adult, you'll notice that there's quite a lot of adult references in the show. Some say it's the reason why it got pulled in the first place. But nevertheless, it talks to both, and that's the point. So the next time you decide to have a throwback moment with Animaniacs and you hear, "Hello, nurse," that's not really for your kids. That's meant to capture your attention. And if it does it well, everyone's happy, which makes the content succeed and makes your family's life a little bit happier at the moment, or at least a little bit more in sync with each other. So that's the idea of choice and voice, right? So the second one I want to talk about is access or accessibility. Because everything's online now, no matter what the device is that you have, you're more than likely to be able to engage with some piece of content. Whether you're watching a streaming show, you're watching something on YouTube, or you're engaging with an online ebook. It doesn't really matter what it is. It's there for you, and it's there now more than ever. You can start when you like. You can treat things with your own intermissions, and you can develop your own schedule to really engage with it for you and your family. So I think it's a really great idea. And actually, I'm really excited the fact that a lot of streaming channels and platforms have even released things sooner to allow additional engagement and to keep audiences happy, right? I know a lot of it's about dollars and cents, but that's not what this conversation is about. This is about you as the end user choosing what you want. The last little thing I want to talk about for the pro list is creativity. Everything is so creative these days. It's amazing. It's amazing. You can watch an animated story, right? You can watch a child's book that you used to look at, and now it's come to life. And it's come to life in a way that you can really relate to, and you can really feel like you're still engaging with the actual story book, which I think is pretty great. You can have AR and VR experiences if you have the equipment at home. So you can really become a part of the story. Or you can have an educational moment, right? You can actually, as if you're doing an online course or an online curriculum, right? You can engage with that, pause and start when you're ready. Follow along and learn how to make something, right? So the idea that you have this creative spark or this creative fire that can be unleashed and now can be unleashed through online platforms is more real than ever. So I encourage you to take advantage of that, not just for yourself. There's something that you've always wanted to learn, try, or engage with, but also do it with your children, because now that they can feel more empowered, and maybe some of them needed to be empowered in the safety of their four walls instead of being empowered in a large room where their peers could be viewing them and viewing them go through their struggles, their ups and downs. That is good that they experience that as well. But for those who need the extra push, this might just give it to them. Okay, so on the cons list, the three things I want to talk about. The first one is decision fatigue. So you have so much choice, but now what do you choose, right? So many channels, how are we ever going to get to it? It's overwhelming. It's going to come to a point where you're just not going to know which way to go. But that's okay, because that's what's the beauty of you being in control, being able to start and stop things. Unless something's really on a timer and is like an online meeting or an online class that's requiring everyone to be present at the same time in the same place, you can choose when that happens for your child. So if they're just not in the mood to take that class right now, it's okay, right? If they need a little push on something else, or maybe they just need a break, you can choose that for them as well. But really understanding what they think is important and what programs, characters, ideas, content, channels, apps they're interested in, knowing that will help you steer the decisions, because then you can review a smaller selection of content and you can decide if that content is right for them. So on the con side, I'm going to choose the next word is access again, because just as the increase of accessibility, there's a decrease in accessibility. A lot of these platforms require a paywall. A lot of these platforms require broadband, and really good broadband. I'm sure you've experienced it if you've been trying to have meetings going on at home at the same time, that at the end of the day, nothing's working, right? You might have to jump off your computer or somebody has to stop streaming. So there's that real possibility that if you're not in an area that's got really, really great connectivity, that you might not be able to get to everything at the same time, right? Or that show or whatever it is that you're engaging with, that video game, you just won't be able to play it. So on the other side of accessibility is also, so we've talked about broadband, reach, money. So then there's the licensing aspect. Things might not be available to you in your area, your country, your region. That's where a lot of VPNs come into place, but if those don't work for you, you're not going to be able to watch the same thing that maybe somebody else online is that you've engaged with, or one of their online or distant relatives, right? That's okay. Most kids can kind of navigate with what's in front of them and are just fine. But the idea of access and that everyone has equal access to the same type of content is just not true. If you don't have a smartphone, if you don't have the money to pay or don't want to pay for all the streaming services, then you're really limited to what's available to you for free. And a lot of times that comes with commercials and advertisements. And all you can do is hope that those are targeted correctly and won't be deemed harmful. But they might be deemed annoying, right? If they're constantly interrupting. So just make sure that the content you're choosing, if you're choosing not to pay or you're choosing not to pay for those paywalls or get rid of the ads, that it's going to be appropriate for them, that it's enough bite-sized chunks that they can handle, and that it won't be too jarring if you're interrupted with an advertisement. And the last thing I want to talk about is passivity. So creativity is a great thing that it can bring you, but passivity is also the other side of this coin. Sometimes if your kids are just playing a game or watching somebody else play a game, say on Twitch, or maybe they're on an online YouTube channel that is their favorite, or maybe they're just watching a show that they really love, it can come into sort of a passive engagement. Now that's great if they need to relax, but if they need to be doing something more, or you feel like they've been basically vegging out for too long, well, you've got to get them up and moving and doing something to trigger their brain and their activities in a different way. So that goes back to the earlier step 3 comment of on the pro list, the creativity. So with creativity is interactivity. So if you can create interactivity, you'll lose the passivity, right? So let's get rid of that. Let's make it more of a proactive and a forward thinking way of engaging with content, and balance it, if you can, with the more passive engagement, right? So give them a cool down period where they can kind of just watch a show and laugh, because sometimes that's all they need to do. But also give them something constructive and something challenging. And, they might get frustrated, but that's okay, because at least they're also using their brain in a different way. So choice, access, and creativity on the pro, decision fatigue, accessibility, and passivity or lack of interactivity on the con. Regardless of how you look at all of this, the choices are out there, the content is out there, and more is coming and being uploaded every day. So have some fun out there. Be smart, be safe, keep your kids safe online, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.